Hello everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe. People of Earth, we're heading to Skaro, and this is a very exciting build day for me. Lots of people to thank, well, not lots, two, but that's a lot. And this build is being memorialized for my Wonderfest build. This is what I'm taking to Wonderfest. So you will be seeing this after Wonderfest, or maybe the day before Wonderfest is supposed to start, because I wanted to keep it under wraps, but I'm super excited. Several months back, I started talking to, first of all, the great guru, Lou Dalmeso, about Wonderfest and bringing things and what should I do. And I've had a couple of really sweet offers from people. Bob, thank you out there, you know who you are, for offering to let me ship to you and then you'll drive it there. Don't need to go into the details of why shipping models and taking models to Wonderfest for me in California is a big deal. It's a big deal because if something breaks or cracks or chips or it needs to be repaired, you know, not a lot of folks to turn to say, hey, can you drop what you're doing to fix my model for me? And then does it look the same? I don't know. Anyway, it freaks me out. But I've decided this year I'm going to bring a very unique piece that has been designed for me by Jeff Fink, a wonderful designer, and also a little bit of help from Lou. The Dastic Dummy has provided masks for me. And I'm excited to say that I believe this is going to be offered as a kit. So I don't know where just yet. I'm not sure whether it'll be on the domestic side or whether it'll be through the UK. But this will be offered as a kit, and I'm thrilled it will be. Okay, this is a cutaway Dalek, and basically the idea is you're going to see the anatomy of what's inside. All the Daleks we see out there, certainly on the modeling side, they're not cutaways. Now I have seen one or two out there, so I'm not trying to suggest that I have figured out the only thing that has never been done in the modeling universe. Nay, not true. But I also know that there's so many super talented guys out there who are probably watching this again. I've seen one of those. That's not clever. But I'm excited because I've never done anything like this, and I think it's something I'm going to be able to bring with me to Wonderfest. So keep your fingers crossed, and let's basically talk about what we're doing. Now, I've started already. I couldn't wait. And then I realized, I better record this and memorialize it. And so that's what I'm doing. At the moment on the bench are just some basic pieces that I'm sort of working on for overall aesthetic. In other words, I've got the basic building blocks, and I'll show you what the kit will ultimately come with. And then I've decided about the various things that I'm going to be putting into this. So I'm blocking in. Now, it will come with some basic parts. For the bottom of the skirt here, and then this little greeble here that's got some lovely detail on it. That's this bit here, which I have printed, and that will come with it. But then I found some other greeblies that I'm working on. I've got some engines and parts like that, so I can add my hosage and also work on where my lighting is going to be. So let me just show you what this looks like built up. I mean, in its rough state, because it's quite cool. Here it is, and you can see we've got the base. Obviously, half the skirt is in there. Then you're going to get the armatures for the plunger and the ray gun. Then you're going to get the upper framework, which will also include a cutaway of the head, your eyepiece, the anatomy of what is going on under there, and I'm going to add some gack up there as well. And then you'll notice in the center we've got this wonderful bowl that up and down, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And that is going to include our alien, our Khaled, as it were. And so that is sort of the basics of what you will get in this kit, should should it become available. I believe it will, and if you want to order it, that's what you'd be getting. Kind of cool, right? So at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm just sort of roughing in some things. I'm adding some details of my own because you can go crazy with this. I think I've decided on color. I think it's going to be black with the spheres being silver. I may change my mind, and I'll let you know as we build. But I'm slowly sort of working on the elements here, and sort of building them up. I've got my box out, my trusty box, and I'm also sort of working on a couple of imperfections in the build. That's sort of typical, but you can see here as this sort of starts to come together that it's really kind of cool, and I think you'll agree that this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, one of the things that I've been thinking about, obviously, is how do we make this as sort of dynamic as possible? What can we do to make this dynamic? And one of the things I've been thinking about is all of the stuff that's going to go on. Now we've got the collar in the sphere, and he's going to have some fluid in the bottom. I have to build him, and he'll be attached to his various connective tissue. There'll probably be some green breathing lights in there. I've got lights for the top. I've got a light for the eye, and I'll probably have some other light going on in the back so you can see behind it, so it looks like it's going, something's going on, and we'll maybe even have some light around the front. Haven't decided. This is the fun part of this because I'm in the blocking stage, and when you're in the blocking stage you can do all kinds of things. Now the thing about this too is let me sort of deconstruct it for a second here, because Jeff has done a wonderful job in the design, and in the base I just want to sort of tip it over and show you. Look at that. So there's a lot we can do with the base. If you wanted to, you could actually add some spheres to the bottom, raise this up a little more if you wanted to, and even get some light under there. I don't know if I'm going to be getting some light under there because I don't think they'll be hovering, but the detail in this is extraordinary. Now I've already decided I'm going to bring my power in from the back. So what I've done is I've just drilled a small hole in the back of this here, and it's just going to go up into the base of the Dalek. And I've got a plug and play system, and then it's going to be displayed with a 9-volt battery that is going to be cleverly hidden in a battery box. Now these battery boxes are STL files you can get from 3D Fig Lab. I've built Ricardo and the gang over there are friends, and they are very talented. And if you want stuff from 3D Fig Lab, that's where you go. And if you can't, or you don't have a printer, I'm going to be telling you at the end of this, as I've told you before, where you can get your 3D files printed here in the US. And it's terribly exciting. You are no longer tethered to the fact that you can't build STL files because you don't have a printer. Those days are over, my friend. Now you can. Well, this has a wonderful battery box that holds a beautiful battery. There's a switch plate that I added. The switch does not come with this, but the hole is the cutout is absolutely perfect. And these are going to come in various different versions ultimately. So, but what I absolutely love about these is you can just sit this at the back of your Dalek, right? With the lid on, the 9-volt battery is in there. You plug in, and no one's, it's just beautiful. It's a lovely way to bring a model like this to a convention or to your club or to wherever you are going to display your models. Okay, so What I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to work on the various different blocking for my GAC. That's what I'm working on, so that I know where all my hose is going. Everything's going to get a final sanding, and then it's all going to get primed, and then we can take a look at take a look at sort of starting to assemble some of this. We'll also be looking at the car lead and what that's going to look like. I've been doing a bit of an experiment here. This is hardening in here. Let me see if it has hardened. No, it's still hardening. But let me show you. I've put this is I'm just testing here. There's all kinds of things. Now I've been assured that I can actually get some 5-minute epoxy and put that in the bottom of my sphere and just add a little dye to that, and that'll be fine. I don't know if I'm going to go that way. I am a little concerned about the exothermic reaction, but I'm told there won't be one with that amount, and it shouldn't damage the plastic. But this water texture, and it comes, there's other versions of it. You can get it not in such small amounts. You could probably even do it with silicone. I don't know. But the point is that add a little bit of paint to it. In this case, I've just added a little bit of the Freak Flex Badger line, and you get this wonderful kind of goop, and it's going to be in the bottom sphere. And there's just going to be enough of it to look like embryonic fluid. So this is it's actually it's drying quite nicely. So it does work. I mean, it probably to completely solidify it probably needs overnight. But that's one way to go. So it's nice to know that test is a success. Okay. So let me do this. I'm going to continue to work on my gackage and get a coat of primer on everything, and then we'll come back when I've started to block in some color and show you some of the hoses. Really excited about this, guys, and I'm really thrilled to be able to be finally bringing something to Wonderfest. I hope this comes together. You'll certainly see it at the end of this video, and if it shows up at Wonderfest and you're there and you see the cutaway Dalek, you'll know we had a result. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, I'm making progress. I have started to lay down some color. I'm going to go with a light gunmetal for the base. The underneath will be black. And then I've decided to go with a black skirt. Actually, an all black. It's going to be an all black Dalek with chrome and gold, maybe some gold highlights. But I'm going to sort of stick kind of to traditional colors. And keep it simple and really sort of try to focus all of my attention on the guts of this thing because it's a cutaway. But obviously the exterior needs to look very Dalek-like. But I'm going to add some flair of my own. And I'm playing with color because that's the only thing that's going to pull your eye to this. I have been playing with all kinds of things. I just sort of update you on what I'm doing. I'm about to start dry brushing this, which I'm calling the actual engine core of the Dalek. It's the base of the engine core, and then everything gets built up from there. So I'm going to start doing some dry brushing on that. I have got myself some clear plastic tubing, and I've painted that in a green Tamiya transparent, and I've added a noodle to that, and that's what this looks like here. And I think the two is going to look quite effective. On camera this looks a little wacky, but in person I promise you this looks really cool. And what I'm going to do is this is going to sit around the base somehow. I've got some elements that I'm playing with that it's going to plug into, and basically what's going to happen is that one end of this is going to go into a pipe, and the other end, it's going to be in the front here actually. And what I'm going to do is this end will go into the pipe, and this end will go in and sort of die. But it's going to look active, and it'll add some real intrigue, and it's going to look alive. So I'm very happy with that. One of the other things that I've been playing with, let me turn this off, is sort of what does the inside of the skirt look like, because we're going to be able to see inside of it. I've added a piece here, just an element that I had in my my greebly stockpile, but I'm thinking that it might be fun, like the reverse side of the spheres is to have a corresponding sphere like that, so that it looks like it has some purpose. So I'm going to play with that. I do have an element that's going to attach here, so you're not going to see too much, but I'm really happy with this black. This is the Vallejo matte black, and it's had several coats of the duper color, filler primer, got sanded many times, and then I hit it with a couple of coats of the Vallejo matte black, and then I just did a dusting of a Mr. Surfacer hobby color, just a dusting of that black. So it's got some contrast to it, and I think it looks really good. I like the matteness of it. Now we might hit this with a semi-gloss when we're finished, but I am liking that quite a bit. I think that's working quite well. And so things here are progressing. I've also been playing with the lights here. I'm thinking maybe they might want to be blue. The helmet lights. Now, you know, I don't want this to look like a Christmas tree, so I do have to be very careful. But I've been playing with a Pico chip white. Now I am printing a second version of this. This is the test version, and it was a solid piece. Now I've made my wiring work on it, but Jeff has kindly redesigned this for the kit version, and it'll be two separate pieces. And so I am actually printing that right now just to see if I like that better. And I'm thinking now that I'll probably go back to a white and not blue on these headlights, simply because I'm using the green on the base, and I don't want to. I don't want this to look like a Christmas tree, and I'm realizing that blue, and I would add more white, I think is a mistake. So I'm going to shut that down and start again. But I'll show you what the new version of this looks like. This is perfectly fine, but I think we can do better, and that's what I'm printing right now. So I will wait to see what that looks like and report back to you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start dry brushing this core, and then once I've got that, I'm going to get a coat of black on the base of my base, and then we can actually start looking at building elements, because that's the fun part of this is once I've got the exterior to where I can start assembling it, I can start playing with the various cables and elements that go on the inside. I also then have to build the car lid that's going to go inside the dome. So there's an awful lot of work to be done here, but I want to keep these progress reports, I want to keep them going, but I want to be mindful of time. So we're going to probably do this in a total, it'll probably be a total one build of an hour. In total. It won't have taken me an hour, but that's probably what we'll do to build our cutaway Dalek. Okay, more to follow. Okay, I've been starting to play with details because obviously there's a lot of the background stuff that needs to be painted and played with before I drop in my the sort of the core of the Dalek. And I've made a decision. I'm going to go ahead and play with these shapeshifters here. So I've got this the Vallejo shifter line, and let's take a look at that. And I'm going to go with this wonderful, it's called dark green tin, 77018. And that's a really nice green to sort of tin color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the inside of this. Now I know, you know, I haven't sanded these down, but you're never going to see them. They're going to be way in the back, and I'm going to put some pipage over those to make that disappear. But I want to get a coat of this shifter paint on, and then I wanted to sort of continue to play with this hose, and this hose is gonna get parked. It's gonna get parked right along here. So pull this out of here so we can see what I'm talking about, and I'll unclip it. And this is just going to drop in like this along this wall, like that, and that'll add quite a bit of interest and depth to this side. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to get a lot of. I'm not going to have a lot of room, but things are really starting to come together. So I'm really happy with that. I am waiting on the new print of the headpiece because I'm going to go with white lights in the headlights. They're not going to be flashing. They're not going to be doing anything. It's interesting because many years ago, those lights actually flashed when he was speaking, and they moved away from that concept. I'm not going to bother with that, because if you think about it, now I'm going to have white lights in the headlights, and then I'm going to have this sort of green light, which is going to be part of the umbilical cord that goes to the car lead in his incubation chamber, in his containment chamber where he lives, in his fluid sac. And then I'm thinking about perhaps some light in the back of the piece that will just give me some uplights here, which could ultimately maybe it'll be a breathing green. I mean, I'm not sure. It might be too much green, but in my head, I don't know why green is a color associated with the internal workings of this thing. Okay, so let me get this shapeshifter on paint. We'll take a look at that. I'm gonna finish off this. Well, I think I'm good to go with this hose. This hose coupling, but I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of the shapeshifter, and then I think we'll be ready to give the outside of this a coat of paint in just a second. I'm a little all over the map here, but my main goal, just so as you know how I'm thinking, is to get all this outside finished so that I can work on the details, because I don't want to be messing with the outside of this and not have put in my hoses and lights and figured out where everything is going. I want to be done with this and work my way forward. So that's my thinking on this. Well, as far as builds go, this is definitely it really excites me on a lot of levels, and it's challenging on others, because I'm developing this with Jeff Fink, who designed this Dalek for me, and we worked on it specifically so I could build something to take to Wonderfest that I was hoping no one else would have, a cutaway Dalek. And now, I'm not saying that this is the first one. There's been other iterations of this. So let me be perfectly clear. I have not reinvented the wheel here, but I do think I've got something pretty unique to take to Wonderfest, and that's exciting. And it's been great fun working with Jeff on this project. But as we're developing it, we're learning about, if you want to light it, what do you have to do to light it, or do you leave it, and certain aspects of it as when you get your print home, you can make your design changes yourself. So there are some elements built in that allow you to pull wires through the whole thing, and then there are elements that we've sort of left, and they may get adjusted over time, but there you go. So let me tell you what I've been doing, and I've been doing an awful lot. So to start with the skirt, I've been adding all kinds of elements to the skirt here, and so you can see I've got in all kinds of hoses and wires. I've got this element at the top here. These green buttons are they're Star Trek TOS buttons from the bridge, but I thought what was interesting is they sort of correlate with the outside sphere, and so they give you this sort of inside sphere. Let me see if I can get that lit up for you. I think I can, and we'll just plug this into here real quickly so that you can see what's going on. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you see that light has popped on, and that's sort of fun. And as I tip it up and tip it to camera, oh, I love that little star effect, but don't worry, it's not in real life. But I've added some of the Vallejo shapeshifter paints to the inside. They've got a great alien quality to them. I've added all of this wiring. This is the only hot wire here that needs to drop into the power core. And of course, the giant power core sits in front of this, so a lot of this is going to get lost. But that's okay. That's okay. I'd rather have a little more than not enough. So that's a good thing. So I've added all these elements, as I said. Here's and I put this piece on the other side. See if I can get a close up of that for you. I've added this element here on the side, and I've a lot of lead wiring too, to give it this sort of wonderful overall effect. Now, the front is basically the skirt's ready to go, except that I am going to add a little bit of a wash here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to add that wash, but I'm going to add some wash to it. So that's the skirt. Now, interestingly enough, the base, now I have to be really careful here because I have got so many things running around. I don't want to drop or break anything. This is tipped over because I'm working on lighting. I've been pulling lighting into this kit. And what I'm trying to do is sort of figure out where everything goes. So there's an awful lot going on here. Let me just sort of tuck that in for you and just drop this just here. Let me stuff that in because that doesn't belong like that. That's going to sit like that basically. So I've got all kinds of things going on here that I'm working on. So it's a little sort of under construction, so forgive me. But I've got a noodle light that is in this green tube here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be lighting that up, and that is connected to this element over here, which this element here it's connected to. So the idea is that you're going to have pulsing from the embryo casing, and the embryo casing is here with this element, and I'll stick this on top of here like this, so you can start to see how this is looking. So I'll put that like that for you. Now you can all of a sudden start to see, now there's a sphere that goes on top of that, and the carlid will live in that. His embryonic fluid is below here, and that will have a pulsing green light on it. Let me see if I can fire that up for you. I'm going to try and fire it up for you. I'm just using an Evans design, but I'm staying in the greens, and there that is, and you can see that that's pulsing. That's really looking pretty good there. So I'm really happy with that. So that element, this element, and it all of a sudden it feels like the fluid in the fluid is running around the whole thing, and you've got this all these green elements lit up, and it sort of indicates that it's alive. So I'm really happy with that, and I think it's working out quite well. And then, of course, when the skirt is dropped in to the back, now all of a sudden you really start to feel like you're looking at a cutaway of a Dalek, and that was the whole inspiration for this. And now, of course, the next thing that has to happen is once it's all glued together and put together, I've got to figure out how to travel with it. Now, I'm going to travel with it. I'm going to bring it on the plane with me. At least that's the hope. I'm going to bring it in a little box and hope that I don't get yelled at. Because you're supposed to have two things, right? It's got to be able to, the box has to be able to get inside my backpack. Anyway, I'm giving you more information than you need, but the stress of this is it's really part of the whole thing. And you're not going to see this build, by the way, it's not going to come out until a day or two before I leave for Wonderfest, because I want to keep this under wraps. But I did want to definitely memorialize this and sort of talk about what I was doing. But there'll be a lot more information about these kits and where to get them if you want to get it printed for you, or you want the files. There'll be a lot more information a little down the road. So Wonderfest is 1st of June. So by the end of June, you'll know how to get a cutaway Dalek for yourself. Okay, so other things to show you or to talk about are, here's this is the section that's going to go on top of the lower skirt, and that sits in like that. And you can see I've got my mesh here, and then on top of my mesh are going to go this plating, and that's gonna sit in like this. Here, I'll take this off and I'll bring it to camera, and you can see what I'm talking about here. And these plates will sit in nicely like this, and that forms that upper. Let's see here if I can do this and just get my hands out of the way. Let's see. I don't know if there's a better angle right now. So, but anyway, let me tip that to camera. Anyway, you get the idea. That's going to be that top plate. And that's working out quite well. And I'm really happy with this mesh. I found this mesh. It's you could probably get this at one of those stores that sells fabrics, a big fabric store. You know, they're all over the country. But it's just it's just 1-inch chain link mesh, and it's sort of in ribbon form, and it's really fun. Unfortunately, the source that I got this, where I got this, was from a local hobby shop that also sold jewelry and jewelry, costume jewelry, manufacturing tools and materials, and it's no longer around. It's gone, sadly. But I'm also going to be using this mesh on the inside of the top of this top rail. So what happens is, and again, this is all sort of deconstructed at the moment, but I wanted to try and give you, so this goes on here, and then this sits on here like this. Do you see? Like that. And the whole idea there is that then this mesh goes on the inside of this piece, and that forms that inner ridge like that. And if I bring this to camera, yeah, if I bring this to camera, to close-up camera, I think you'll get a really good sense of this, and then I can hold it for you. Whoop. There, but it's, let me get it in focus. There. That'll look great. So I'm super happy with how that's coming together. So this has got to be glued inside of this, and I'll get a little bit of a wash just around just a little bit of aging, you know, just to give it some added effect. So that sits on top of that, like that, and then on top of that is your dome, which I'm lighting up the two headlights, and then half the headlight is, which, well, I guess, yeah, that's correct. Half the headlight, which I'm going to be careful with because I don't want to bust anything, goes like that, and then that sits on top of that. Now all of a sudden you can see we have a Dalek. So that's what's going on, and it's all under various stages of construction, and some of this I'm just inventing as I go. There are instructions because we're making them up as we go, but that's part of the fun of it. So lots of work here, lots of detail work to do, and also then, you know, some permanent installation, and then it can all start to finally come together. Now I am sculpting a little car lead, and I'm hoping that I can make that work. If I don't, I've found this very odd sort of octopus that I've ordered from Shapeways. And that's supposed to be here in the next couple of days. But near as I can tell, that's basically what this thing is. It's some kind of weird octopi-looking thing with a single eye, and it's got all of these tentacles. So I don't know. You know, personally, my own personal opinion is they could have done so much better with this creature in terms of imagining what it might look like. But hey. You know, that's just an opinion. It's just my opinion. Okay, so thrilled I could show you all the various different elements. I've got the plunger, his eye. Oh, let me just show you this because this is fun. His eye. What I've done with his eye is, now that's going to be blue. I've added a metal element to the front. I've put in a blue lens with a blue light that pulses because I thought that would be quite dramatic. So let me show you the eye lit up because I'm really kind of liking this. I didn't want it just to be on. I wanted it to have just a little bit of life to it. Let me point that to that camera there. See if you can see that. There's the eye. You will obey. So I'm really having fun with this. Let me see if I can get you closer. Hang on here. Let me move this. Let me put this down and move this here. Oh yeah. Here's the eye. It's kind of fun. Now I know you're going to say, Phil, they don't look like that. They've never looked like. Oh, guys, you know. My model, your model, and let me tell you, having been a producer of Doctor Who, I can honestly tell you, when you dive in and you start to realize how much mythology is bolted on, and you pick and choose the bit you want to carry on with, and you just carry on with it. That's what you did. And there's so many different versions of Daleks because there was no single consistency. That who's not to say that this Dalek is not a Mark 9? Huh? That's right. Okay. So a I was going to put like a red thing in the gun, but I thought I started to look like a Christmas tree, so I bailed on that. And the plunger is just a plunger, and that is somewhere. Oh, it's over there. It's drying. So okay. The next time we come back, I would have advanced the ball in terms of starting to put this together, wiring it up, and starting to build it up. And it should start to look like a cutaway Dalek in much closer to its finished state. Okay. It's all about details now. I think you can see from this perspective, you're seeing the Dalek as it would appear on camera, on screen, and then if I sort of flip it towards you, you can see this wonderful sort of cutaway. And I'm continuing to add some hosage because I did share share this with my my guru, the great Lou, and I did seek his advice and comments, and he said more hosage, and so that's what I was doing. And he's absolutely correct. This piece I've just added, and it makes a world of difference. And I've got a like piece for the other side. I'm just letting it dry now, and that's going to come in on this side. And I think that's really going to tie the whole thing together. And then I've added some other sort of details and other nonsense. And I've I feel like I've got it to a point where I don't want to do too much more. I'm putting some washes on that I've been working on. So, I just put a little bit of wash on the top. I'm waiting for that to dry, and then I'll clean that up. But I you can just sort of keep on going, and at a certain point, you got to say enough is enough. But I do feel like I've gotten it to a point now where I'm really happy with it. I'm thinking perhaps I can do just a little more down here, just in terms of getting a little bit of wash down here, just to sort of break this up a little bit, which I can do like this, because I think it does help just to add a little bit of the wash. It kind of just pulls it all together, so I don't mind doing that. And I put a little bit on these engines here, and I think that's helpful. And again, it really is about trying to blend it all together at this point, and make everything feel kind of feel like it all sort of blends together. And I'm just putting a little bit of wash on these yellows because I think they were looking just a little too intense. But that's looking really good. And then I've built this in such a way that my plunger and my gun can come out. Oh, I just noticed that's a little loose. I can tighten that up. And I've done that for a reason. But I'm just noticing here that I hadn't set this in, so I got to do that. Let me do that right now while we're here. Get that in. Make sure that's level. That's pretty good. Well, that's pretty good. That's not going anywhere. So that's good now. And I did that so that when I travel with this, and I set this up, then I just set these in, and I don't have to worry about them. I've got some new hoses that I've ordered that aren't here yet. And I think I might. It's not here, but I think I might do something like this. I don't know. make a lot of sense. But I've got I created these two holes here, these pipes here, deliberately, so that I could add something if I wanted to. But for the most part, I think she's looking pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do some finals on this, get this one piece of hose in, clean up my wash when that settles, and then I think we'll clean up the bench. We'll do some beauty shots, and we will call this one, I think, ready to go to Wonderfest. I'm genuinely excited about this. I don't, I expect nothing but just, I'm glad it's coming. That's the idea here. It's I don't expect to win anything. I don't expect anything other than I feel like I've made a contribution. I feel like I've brought something, and I think that's really important. I've got some issues here where these could potentially snap. I don't know how I'm going to protect those just yet, but I'm going to have to figure it out. Okay, let's get some beauty shots of this and look at it on a clean bench. About 6 or 7 months ago, I was thinking about what to bring to Wonderfest and what I would build and how I would get it there, and you go around in circles stressing yourself out, and at a certain point you say, you know what, you got to do something, you got to try something, you got to take something. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be bringing a cutaway Dalek. This was designed by Jeff Fink. Thank you, Lou, for your guidance and your artistic eye, and of course your great Aztec dummy masks. And it was a fun build. I'm thrilled to have this in my collection. I'm a big Whovian, as most of you know, and this is my interpretation of a cutaway of a 1970s Dalek. I've augmented it with an awful lot of pipes and tubes and wires. I probably went overboard, but that's the fun of it, and we'll see what kind of reaction it gets. Let's look at some beauty shots. So here's the first one. This is sort of a profile of the cutaway, and it feels very solid, and I like the interpretation of it. I think we did a really nice job sort of pulling it all together, so I'm thrilled with that. Here's just here's a sort of a quarter profile, so you get a little bit more of the guts of it. Oops, these are videos. I apologize for that. Here's a close-up of that wonderful eye. So, and this is the collet inside. I think there's probably there's a much better view of the collet. It doesn't have a lot of lights, but I tried to stay in the same kind of world. I didn't want anything other than the greens. I stayed with the greens. There is a breathing light in the lower chamber, and I think that will really enhance what we're doing. But I love the kind of the dated feel of it. That to me is what really pulls it all together, and an awful lot of fun. So I'm glad I put this together. Now there is hopefully going to be a kit available if this is something you're interested in. We haven't put it all together just yet, and I know Jeff is waiting till after Wonderfest to release the files, and I'm hoping that there'll also be a way for you to get this printed for you if you don't have the means to do it, so that you can build and design your own cutaway Dalek with your own ideas, and I'm sure a lot of you will have them. So there you go. As always, thank you so much for checking me out. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow my In the Weeds daily posts on Instagram. But I wish all of you, please be safe, be well, build something. Come on, let's build something. And I'll see you next time. Be well, everybody. Take care.